Okay, so today we're here at the Redbull Ring in Austria, and so we're headed down the front straight in a Formula One car. Uh, Audio's way too loud here. Something's going on. Okay, so turn one, we have about a 90-degree turn. Downshift, I think twice, and gotta be really careful not to run off the edges of the track there because you get a little penalty. Here we are going into the little bend that we just went past was called turn two, so this is called turn three for some reason. You got to brake around the 100 marker, stay wide, and then turn in here. We should have been over the curb. We're a little bit wide here. This is very tricky. You need to be gentle on the throttle coming out of here so you don't spin the car. These cars are very difficult to drive coming out of low speed turns. The car weighs about 1,500 pounds. It uses a lot of aerodynamic grip, so when you're going slow, you don't have a lot of grip, and it's about 1,000 horsepower. So you need to be very, very careful with the throttle. This turn is also very tricky. On the brake about the 100 marker, get off the brake, roll through here off the brake. You see I had the front inside tire was locked up, even though I was, let's see how much brake we still had there. None. Look at that. I'm on like 10% brake, 5% brake. So getting most of my braking done right here at about the 100 marker. We'll slow it down here. Braking 80% or so. We're dropping off the brakes, rolling off right about here. Still braking slightly, trail braking a little bit. 5% braking, and look at that front tire locked up. Still locking up even though we're not even really on the brake. That 5% brake was enough to lock up that inside front tire and help cause us to drift wide. That turn is incredibly tricky as well. Those are probably the two toughest turns on the track. The rest of the track is not too hard. The difficult thing for the rest of the turns is just lifting a little bit, braking a tiny bit, and that's all you need because the car has so much grip because they're fast turns. Right here, lifting off a little bit, maybe braking a hair, and back on the throttle. So the steering is more important, getting your steering just right, and not braking too much. Same thing here, using all the track. So these cars are incredibly quick. Here I stopped on the front straightaway because I didn't want to take a time, because I wanted to start at the back, because it's more fun that way. Um, but that's basically a lap around here. It all happens really, really quickly in these cars. All right, let's get to the race. So we're starting 23rd out of 25 cars, I believe. Um, so these are Formula One cars, and these are open right now during week 13 to anybody with any license level. So yeah, let's see what happens. Chaos should ensue.
1 gallon remaining.
So you see what happened right there. We can back up already and take a look. So I started rolling away from the line. Okay,
70
and then
laps.
I got a little too aggressive with the throttle, and you'll see all the rubber that gets laid down. So I get rolling. We're going half speed, rolling here, and then I jump on the throttle a little harder, and immediately the car steps out and lays down some rubber. Uh, so these things they're touchy. Here, I just want to be clean going through the first turn because chaos, 20 Formula One cars, and we are not Formula One caliber drivers. Being extra cautious. This is why I start at the back. Basically, you can be kind of master of your own destiny here. You can try to avoid the chaos. If the chaos is coming up from behind, it's kind of hard to avoid. It's hard to see in your mirrors and hard to avoid. So I'd rather be in the back and try to pick my way through it. And if I decide to back out of things, then I have that chance at the very beginning. Somebody else went off right there to the right. I'm giving him a little space. I knew that other car was there. Didn't want to pinch him off. Switch to different camera. Unfortunately, all these cars kind of look similar. For some reason, I'm unable to paint my car. There's been some recent changes to iRacing around painting this particular car and one other Formula One car. I think the teams and the sponsors of the actual team, something with licensing, I don't know, they don't want the cars painted. See some guys back there fighting for position a little bit. They touched. Let's switch to our onboard camera here. Oh, the guy spun on the throttle. So that's what we were talking about a little bit there. Let's back up slightly. Let's see, now it's behind us. Okay, so I bet I know exactly what this guy did. He came out of that slow turn and got on the throttle a little too hard. I did my first race in these cars a few minutes before this, and I had this problem. So they touched a little bit. So getting all his braking done, pushing a little bit wide. Now he's turning the car a lot. Oh, no, he did a different thing. He went through the grass and got on the throttle. That's not going to work. All right, let's jump back up to where we are. Okay. Maybe we'll do chopper mode. Do we have chopper mode? I don't know if it's interesting. Yeah, too far away. It's hard to see. Car chase. Maybe this works. This is the other kind of tricky turn. I kind of locked up that right front again a little bit, kind of dragged it through that turn, which just causes you to run a little bit wide. I'm not so worried about damage to the tire per se, just makes it harder for you to make that turn. So basically what I need to do is back up my braking marker or get off the brake earlier so the tires are rolling. Particularly like that view. So these kind of don't really give you the sense of speed in the car. This is riding like on top of the airbox. When you're actually driving in the car, it has this halo thing to protect the driver, like the real cars do. And so you have this thing right in the middle of your vision, which is a little bit annoying, but in VR at least, your eyes kind of see right around it, so it's not that big of an impediment. Just a little bit weird to get used to. So here we're just lifting off a little bit, maybe touch the brake just a hair and back on the throttle. So it's more about getting your steering inputs just right to hit the apex of those turns. So it takes about, I don't know, 80% throttle. And then here, clipping that apex just right and back on the throttle hard. I downshifted right there once. When you heard it rev higher over a split second. Here I'm coming out slightly too wide sometimes. I kept getting a warning about off-track penalties over here. You can see how fast the hands move. My hands look really stable for most of the lap, but you'll notice coming out of the turns, they correct really quickly. I'll slow it down right here. So we're going to get off the brake, try to roll this turn. Oh, locked up that tire, the inside tire locked up. Now we're going to run wide. Now we're going to get an off-track incident point right here, which is fine, as long as you don't get more than, if you get 17, you get disqualified. So that counted as one. A wreck with another car may be 2 to 12, depending on how much destruction there is. So what are we looking at here? So we're going half speed here again. You can see that right front tire locking up again. I'm trying to, I've been practicing trail braking with other cars where you carry a little bit of brake even while you're doing turning, and you can't do that with these cars. You've got to brake in a straight line and get off the brakes. So some things transfer from one car to another, some things don't. I raced on this track recently through 2 other classes of cars, so I have the track pretty well memorized, but the way you got to take it in different cars is different because they have different characteristics. This one has a ton of downforce and a ton of power, and so the downforce again helps you through the fast turns, and doesn't do anything for you through the slow turns. So you think, oh man, this car has amazing amounts of grip, and then try to accelerate out of a slow turn and realize, oh, it doesn't have mechanical grip. It has aero grip. In actuality, it probably does have pretty good mechanical grip, but compared to 1,000 horsepower, it's not enough. Uh, so this guy had spun. Let's see how this happens real quick. That way we'll just back up from this view. So he comes through the same turn we were just going through, and we'll go half speed. So he comes through here. Uh, he's rolling here. He gets on the throttle too hard here, and around he goes. And look, somebody else already wrecked in the exact same spot. That's how common and easy it is to do. Two cars are stacking up on top of each other doing it. And Troy was right behind me when he did that. Um, I was watching him in my mirror. I saw he was approaching, and I was gonna not fight him if he got up anywhere close to next to me. Just because I want to try to finish the race. These cars are hard enough to drive as it is. I don't really want to battle for position so much. Just want to try to keep it clean, keep it on the track, and finish. Let's go ahead and we'll switch cameras to switch to TV
I
cam.
appreciate that, sir.
So that's Steve behind us. He was slowly getting a little closer.
Open, but,
At this point, he's maybe about 2 seconds behind us. And he is inching closer and closer. I was just kind of keeping tabs on it from time to time to know how quickly he's approaching, to have some idea of, can I pick up my pace a little bit, or if he gets on my bumper, should I just basically let him right by? Is it not even worth battling? Is he that much faster than me? So I felt like he was slightly faster than me. So I wasn't sure what I was going to do if he caught me, or when he caught me. I was playing around with taking these turns a little bit differently. In the first race I did with this car, I was braking a lot for those turns. And then I saw another car take them quite differently. And it looked like he took them almost flat out. So I started trying to take it differently too. Realizing how much grip these cars have. So this is one of the tricky turns. Oh, ran a little bit wide. Got to be gentle on the throttle. The car kind of wiggles right there. You get on the throttle a little bit too hard. If you got it just a little bit too hard, you can feel it wiggle, and you can just back out of it for a split second, and the rear end catches, and you're okay. Anywhere beyond a slight wiggle, and you're probably going to lose it. So from this perspective, I feel like it's looking pretty good. Like I'm feels like I'm using all the track. I'm using some of the curbs in places where it makes sense. Here I'm going a little bit too wide on entry. See right there, I was like on the green paint, almost to the black. I think what happened is a few times I touched the black just ever so slightly, and that's what was getting me the off-track incident point. The thing is, I didn't know where it happened. I knew it was in that turn, but I wasn't sure if it was on entry or at the apex or at the exit. Like, I felt like the apex and the exit were fine, so it must have been the entry. But at those speeds, you can't really. I couldn't tell. I wasn't. Let's try switching here to ride on board with Steve and see if we have a nose camera. We do. Maybe we'll be able to see something here of where he's catching us, how he's catching us. Oh, he ran wide there a little bit. He got a little wider entry. He ducks in on the straightaway a little bit. Right, kind of just stay wide on the straightaway. You see how I duck out a little bit wider there? Oh, that time I definitely got on the black. I saw it there. Right there. Um, let's look at this. Rear chase. Here it is. So my my left side tires are on the black. That's what was causing me the penalty. I didn't realize it. At this point, oh, I am clearly, because my eyes are looking towards the apex over here. I'm not even looking here, so that's why I wasn't seeing it. Um, I'm looking where I'm gonna go. I'm not looking straight ahead of me, and so sort of by habit, I drift a little bit left before I turn right. This is sometimes called the Scandinavian flick. And so the idea is that when you're going to make a right turn, to help you make that right turn better, you first turn slightly to the left quickly just before you get there. So what that does is it shifts the weight from the kind of center of the car to the left side of the car and loads up that left side suspension, moving weight to that side, stiffening that suspension on that left side of the car, so it's getting more grip. So now when you turn the wheel of the car to get it to make this right turn, that left side suspension is already stiff. It's already loaded up. There's no additional, I don't know, 100 milliseconds or something needed to load up that suspension to get it to turn. You've already done it. So you can think about like maybe driving on ice or driving on gravel or driving on sand or something. So the Finnish drivers, Kimi Räikkönen, Mika Hakkinen, and a lot of the rally drivers, they just do this by habit because they're used to driving on ice all the time. This is a normal thing for rally car drivers, and even those Finnish Formula One drivers do it by habit. And so the other Formula One drivers have now learned to do it, but it's not doesn't come as natural to them. That that high pitch kind of whine you hear a little bit there. I was hitting the rev limiter. Um, you fly through second, third, fourth gear really quickly. Sixth gear, seventh gear almost doesn't even really seem to accelerate. With those low gears, you really fly through. So right now we are working lap 9 of 17. Let's go ahead and back and let's ride with Steve, see if maybe this is interesting. Switch to the camera above. Just see how he's taking things differently. So he doesn't go as far wide out. Oh, I bounced off the outside curb a little bit. So we're riding along with Steve. That's me up ahead in the black car. Oh, he's getting a run here. He's getting a draft for sure. He's getting a run. He got a better exit because I bounced off that curb. He's closing in. I ran a little bit wide, and now he's definitely got a run up the inside here. So let's switch to TV camera. So we're kind of sort of side by side. Nope, he's got me. So he pulls back to the racing line.
All good.
Gets that pass done. That was other people talking. So at this point now, I'm just trying to follow his line and see what I can learn. He's obviously a little bit quicker. He's probably a little more experienced at this stuff, as probably everybody is. This is our we're on lap 10, and this is about my 20th lap driving the car. Ooh, he's quick. Ooh, he went out. That's a penalty. In terms of a time penalty. Whoops. We got a run going. Looks like we came out of there a little bit better than he did. and stepped out on him a tad. So I took it easy going in here, just trying to follow his line through here. He rolls that turn better than I do. So I was just trying to see if I could see where he's getting on the brake and where he's getting off of it. I couldn't quite tell. But definitely that's a better line than running too wide. You can tell I'm using up more of those curbs. It just seems like a shorter line. Not sure why he's not doing that. Sometimes I do braking over some of these curbs, which I think can unsettle this car a little bit. Or is it necessary in this car? I try to take a wider entry, that way I can carry more speed through this turn. But it doesn't seem to be helping me at all. Because he doesn't do that and is maintaining the same gap. But for me, it's just kind of habit, and like logically it makes sense. It should help. I spun the rear tires a little bit coming out of there. Not too bad. Trying to take it easy through here. I'm really not trying to make up any time going through those last two turns. I'm just trying to keep it on the track. I'll push it the rest of the lap, other parts of the lap. Here a little bit, these next turns for sure. Coming on the front straight for sure, but those turns sort of 3 and 4, I just want to survive. You can tell he's kind of a little bit out of control through there, it seems like to me. A little bit more wild through there. Oh, we got a great run. So we took that, we hit the apex just right, and he did not. So let's look at this slowly here. So we're turning in better. We're getting our right side tires right over the curb right here pretty good. He's had to slow down a little bit more because he was a little bit worried about running wide. We're using all the track. So we were able to get on the throttle. We took that corner at a little bit higher speed and able to get back to the throttle a little quicker. And so that's helping us right here. So this is really tricky to do. So normally I'm braking at the 100 marker, but because I'm not an optimal line, this is more the optimal line over here on the left side for the right-hand turn coming up. So I'm trying to overtake. I'm not running an optimal line, and he's running slightly defensive. So that means I have to back up my braking marker. So it's weird this brake light's flashing. But so instead of braking at the 100 sign like I normally do, I got to brake earlier. So I braked at like the 125. Oh, there's no brake light on these cars. Can't see where we hit the brake at all. But I braked a little bit earlier on purpose, trying to account for, huge slide. Trying to account for the fact that I'm going to need to take a tighter turn. So I got to back up my braking marker to make a tighter turn here. And then I locked it up. You can see that I'm leaving rubber marks on the road, locking it up. So then he has to give me a little space and run a little wide. It's very heads up driving here by Steve. He kind of loses the rear end a little bit. I lose the rear end a little bit right in front of him. Gather it back up quickly, back out of the throttle. Not to belabor this too much, but watch the throttle trace really quickly here. I'm at like 50%, 80%, 60%, something. Back down to 50. Back down to 20. 2010. Boom, back to 80. Back to 50. Back to 70. Back to 80. And that's all back to 90. And that's all in the course of maybe half a second. Let's see that again at real speed. So we'll go in the car. All right, here we go. So everything happens quickly. That's the fun there. Switch cameras back. Let this run. So those corrections need to happen super fast. Otherwise, you spin out like we saw those cars spin out earlier, right at that same spot. Um, let's look at that. So we're coming down here side by side. So since I had get some wheel spin coming out of there, we're still kind of side by side here. I have a nose on him, but I'm on the more defensive line. I'm on a more defensive line. He's more like on the racing line here that you would normally be on. Uh, but he goes ahead and drives it in there. But he's not used to that line. There's not as much doesn't grip out there. It's not a great line, and so he runs wide. Um, you just can't take that turn at that speed. So that's just a driving error on his part. I didn't know at this point. So you can see here, I'm really wide and I leave all this room because I think he's still beside me. I didn't know that he went off track back there, and I can't really hear his engine. I in my rear view mirror I don't see him, so I'm assuming he's alongside of me. I don't know where else he could be. He was alongside me before, and so I'm leaving space here for him, thinking he's here next to me. Uh, and then I get to this point, and I'm like, I'm not sure he's here. Let me just go ahead and take a little more of the track. And then at this point here, I look at the relative box and see, oh, he's 2.7 seconds back. I'm clear. I can use all the track. Um, so that's what was going on there. That's why I missed that apex. Was I didn't miss it. I was leaving room, assuming that he was there and not realizing that he had lost it back there. But he recovered well. He's like 2.7 seconds back, and I don't know which angle is more interesting to watch these cars in. So now we're working lap 14 of 17, running in sixth position. We started like 23rd or so, 22nd, something like that. So I'm really happy at this point. This is my second race ever in these cars. Crashed out of the first one after about 7 laps. So I really just want to finish the race, uh, keep the car on the track, hopefully stay on the lead lap. I think the car that was in front of me was like about 10 seconds up, so uh, I was kind of a little more worried about this Steve behind me than. So lap 15. So he's still pushing. He's still like 2.5 seconds back, 2.7 seconds back. Uh, so I have really not a lot of room for error. Just trying to keep it clean, not overdrive it, not drive too hard. Don't need any heroics. Just got to keep it on the track. So really, it's that turn 3 and 4 where I'm very cautious, and I feel pretty confident in the way the car handles on the rest of the track, where we have faster turns, so there's more grip, there's more downforce. This turn is tricky in most cars, but in this car you can just lift a little bit and hang a right. Same thing there. These cars track amazingly well. Like, I don't even really think about it, and the car is kind of exactly where I'd like it to be, and it can be right at the edge of the track. Uh, oh, he lost it there. I didn't realize that. Let's look at that. Uh, Steve. I realized that. I think I got finished right behind me. I didn't know what happened to Steve. Oh, he's coming on to. So he always seemed to be struggling. Oh no, this was turn one, I think. Let's see here. Oh yeah, it's turn one. All right, let's go slow mo, half speed, and see what happens here. He turns in, catches a little too much curb, catches some curb on exit, and lights him up. I think what happened was the left rear tire was up on this curb, and he got back on the throttle hard, and it's not really getting full contact over here. You're on the painted surface, and I think that's what caught him out. Because basically, that part of it there, you only have half the tire even on any kind of pavement. Uh, that sucks. He ran a good race. Um, so we're on lap 16, trying to roll it through here, get on the throttle kind of gentle. It's so weird. These cars are so high tech and so fast, and you have to roll through that turn so seemingly slow. Like right here, I'm doing 70 miles an hour. It feels like you're walking, um, compared to some of these other where you're doing 160 going into this turn. 120 through there. Got down to 132 in the middle of that turn. So 70 just feels so slow. And in turn 4, I think we get down to probably like 30 or 40 miles an hour. Look at this turn, I'm taking it at 145 miles an hour. 113 on that one. We're doing 177 down the straight right here. Got about 95. It's the lowest speed we did through that turn. So let's see what speed we're taking this turn here when we get up here. We're up to 182 again right here. And then it gets down to 48 miles an hour was the lowest speed I saw right there. So if 48 miles an hour feels so slow in these cars after doing 180 on the way into that turn. So this is the final lap. We're on lap 17. The hands are pretty calm, pretty steady, which kind of surprised me. I thought there'd be a lot more kind of correcting in these cars or precision, like adjustments and stuff, and it doesn't feel that way. It kind of looks that way, but driving it just feels kind of easy, which surprised me. Anyway, let's look at our results. Okay, started 22nd, finished 6th. Let's look at our laps. We first lap was start off slow because we start from a dead stop. Second lap was our fastest lap of the race at 108.689, and then we did a bunch of 109s, a 110, and then a couple 108s, 109, 108, 109, 108, 108. Really consistent, I feel like, for an incredibly fast car that you're still getting used to. So I had a blast. This was super fun. I'm so happy I didn't fly off the track. Thanks for watching.